Hello, everybody. I'm Drew Duncan. The show's fired up, and we are live. I am brought to you in part by WBFR Black 50 Radio, which is online 24/7, 365 at black50radio.com. I am wherever you are listening to podcasts. Take a device to play Fired Up by Drew Duncan, iTunes, iHeart. Wherever you're listening, I am there. Guys, obviously it's Friday, so we're going to be talking MMA with our MMA insider, Austin Ford. And by the way, not just UFC 300, but obviously McGregor and Chandler has officially been announced. Austin, thank you so much for joining us once again today, my man.
Can you hear me, Drew?
I can, my man. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right.
Man, it's these satellite attacks, man. Cyber terrorists.
Big brother trying to shut you down, bro. You gotta watch out for Big Brother in the sky, my man.
Yeah. Let them hear. Let them listen. They can't stop us. They can't stop us.
My man. Austin, obviously, well, first of all, look, I want to get this out of the way because I didn't know that if this thing was going to happen or not. I thought this was Conor McGregor talking a lot of BS, right? The phone call's been made. It's going to happen. He didn't give us anything back behind it. Now, all of a sudden, after UFC 300, Dana White gets gift wrapped a lot of things on UFC 300, but obviously one of the big fish was the announcement of McGregor and Chandler, which, by the way, 175. Do you like McGregor at that weight, though, my man?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. These are big guys. You know, funny story. I thought about you. I was watching the post-fight press conference, and that's when Dana White announced it. Like, he got a piece of paper.
Right.
And he just read off the paper. And so that was cool. It was like breaking news. And I remember, you know, I knew what was going to happen. And I was really influenced by Chael Sonnen because he said, the boss, if he says it's going to happen, it's going to happen because he's under the gun and he operates like that. You know, he likes to keep his word. But anyway, 170 up to 175, these two guys are about the same size. So, you know, I think Chandler's been in that body forever. But Conor's been in this body, you know, it's kind of new. I mean, you saw him on the movie. You know, he looked big. He doesn't look fast to me, especially when we've seen him at 145 be lightning and right on time. So, do I like him at 175? I do. I think he'll be fine, but he's going to be basically fighting the weight best.
You know, the thing about it is, for as massive as he is, what do you think he's really walking around at right now?
Oh, goodness.
I mean, it's got to be 190 at least.
It could easily be 190. I have a fighter that fights at 145 that gets to 190 and doesn't even look like a chubbier version of himself. His body will just be 190 and then, you know, 8 weeks later be 145. So I think he easily could be walking around at 190. And he's lifting weights. He obviously likes to lift. He likes the way he looks. Right? A lot of these guys, they don't care how they look. And really a side effect of training hard and lifting for function, it'll make you like how you look. But then Conor, I call it like a bro workout. Like he's probably hitting the curls, hitting the bench press,
deadlift,
you know?
shoulder presses,
right. leg extensions to get them quads looking right, you know. So I don't know if that really. I mean, we're talking about being a little bit faster and winning by KO, being a little bit slower and losing by KO. So think he's playing a dangerous game. He obviously believes in himself, but Michael Chandler, you watch him train, he is all about the functional strength. He's been doing it consistently, whether he's got a fight or not, for years. And I probably would be very accurate to say he's in the best shape he's ever been in, speed-wise, endurance-wise, strength-wise, explosive-wise, because he never took any breaks. So I think Conor, as far as just physical versus physical, is the underdog in his fight for sure. Now he's got the laser creative striking willingness to land. You know, I think he has that advantage because you don't really lose that. That continues to develop whether you're training or not. But the timing with all the physical attributes, it may diminish that a touch, and it's not going to be that way for Chandler.
If Conor loses his fight against Chandler, do you think that's it? I mean, I think we're all kind of to a boiling point with Conor. Look, you've got all the outside stuff. Ever since the Mayweather fight, everything has just fallen apart for Brody. He's had one semi-good win that was against Cerrone, but Cerrone doesn't do good against southpaws and in big match situations. I mean, people make excuses for that man all the time. Fact of the matter is, he's never really won a truly big fight, okay? So at this point, if McGregor doesn't beat Chandler, is that it? Because I don't, and at the bare minimum, I don't think he's a payday anymore. I mean, he legitimately turns into the first fight of a main card.
There is another fight out there for him, and it is a money fight. But you know,
who?
I think it depends on Nate Diaz.
Oh, come on, man! You think people really want to see that again?
You know, I can't believe what people want to see when I don't have any inside information. You know, I mean, goodness. And by inside information, I mean, you know, this is my direct lane, you know, mixed martial arts, you know, combat sports. But I do think that fight would be entertaining. I definitely don't think it's a main event. I don't think they want to fight 5 rounds. So yeah, maybe a Coco main event, but I don't think it depends on how he loses. You know, I think Chandler starches him. Man, it's like, oh, why not be done except for to go out on a W or to go out on a fight of the night, you know, but to go out, you know, and be finished devastatingly by Chandler, and you're dealing with some like, why do I even do this thoughts, you know, and he's got that FU money, so he could say F fighting money, F myself money, F everyone money. He's got that, you know. So I don't know if it will be done.
I think the problem is,
I want to fight him.
Look, I think, and I don't mean to cut you off, but here's my thing, Austin. I think when I see Conor McGregor right now, I see a guy who woke up one morning and went, "Hey, I think I want to do a fight." Now,
yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Now, you and I both know that that's not how that works. You can't.
Not at this level.
No, hell no. You know, I mean, we're not talking about an amateur that's 3-3, and you know, some local promoter goes, "Hey, man, I need a guy for a fight," and he goes, Sure, why not? I could, you know, train for 8 or 9 weeks or whatever, no big deal, and climb in there. Whatever happens, happens. You know, this is not that. And I think that McGregor woke up one morning and said, "I think I want to do a movie." And I think he woke up one morning and said, you know, I feel like being a bodybuilder. But here's the big problem. Chandler's not thinking like that, bro. I think what happened during the UFC Tough series that they do, I think Chandler was legitimately pissed off, and I think McGregor just saw this as an opportunity after the fact of, man, I could really sell this as a fight, make myself some money. I don't think Chandler's playing around.
To be a fight.
Do what?
The tough coaches are supposed to fight, I thought.
Well,
this should have already been happening.
come on, man. I think this was 100% a slick ass move from beginning to end by Conor, bro. 100%. I think he knows how to manipulate situations better than anybody gives him credit for. And what was Dana going to do? Say no to this? Come on.
He's not going to wait around. Hey, you get a chance to fight Conor, which is what is so cool about him. He is just it's an honor to fight him because it can do so many things for you. And so, yeah, Chandler's like, I want to fight this guy. And Max Holloway wants to fight that guy. You know, everybody wants to fight Conor. So, you know, but I'll tell you what, Michael Chandler, he, like you said, he didn't just wake up and want to fight this guy. And I don't really even think that Conor is mad at Michael Chandler.
No.
I don't think he's motivated. I don't think he's like this little twerp, Michael Chandler. I'm like, no, you're not really mad at him. But Michael Chandler, he is mad at Conor in a way that we saw his reaction when Conor slapped him.
Right.
And he was just like, let's go. I love getting into this mindset right here where I would fight you right now and it's going to be a blast. I don't think Conor even has that in him anymore.
No, man. Because when you're watching this, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, Conor is just dicking around. He's just, you know what I mean? I'm just like, man, I don't think he realized he was really poking the bear, bro. And I think he was so good for so long that, like I said before, I don't think he's forgot or, I think, he doesn't realize this isn't 2017 anymore. Okay. Nobody's talking about Conor being on top of the world. He's not the best fighter in the world anymore. Okay. And you could say he did it to himself all you want to, or whatever the case may be. I don't really give a damn about any of that. What I am talking about is strictly from a fighter's perspective. You can't wake up, grab a cup of coffee, and then decide you're going to go match somebody in the octagon later. It's just not how it works. And I think Conor is so. It's really bizarre to say prima donna because he was on top of the world. So to say prima donna now, yeah, it's weird to say that about him now, man, because he's fallen so far, bro. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but. Speaking of Callaway, I think this was another gift that was given to Dana White. Look, you know how the UFC does. They rarely post this stuff on social media, but what were they going to do? Not post that?
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. So not only was that not the main event, right? So you have a fight that's probably fight of the night, not a main event. Max is probably winning that fight. I think we can all be honest about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then instead of backing off, he says, let's get it right now, which is typical of Max Holloway. Gagey decides to hell with it. This is my shot to win if anything's going to happen. With 1 second left, he puts old boy down on that canvas. And you couldn't have asked for a better situation for 300 because people like me, as you know, were very critical of that card and particularly that fight because I still say the BMF belt is a gimmick fight. But now, to me, it brings legitimacy to the belt. Now it brings legitimacy to the 300 card. And then on top of that, I'd be willing to bet money the next pay-per-view through the roof because a lot of casuals are going to go, I don't want to miss this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think there was a better outcome to that fight. And that was Gaethje sleeping Holloway with 1 second to go. And honestly, that's what I wish would have happened because I know Justin, I know Trevor, and it literally affected me. I had 0%. Holy S, that was amazing. None of that.
Damn.
My heart sank. And gosh, I just felt bad. I finished watching the fights, but I definitely turned it off at that moment, and then just waited for the next fight to start. But
it was brutal, man.
Yes,
it was brutal.
It was sad. Like I watched long enough to see how quick he was going to get up, and he didn't.
No, he was out for a long time.
Out
for a long time. He was out, and look, it's one of those, and you and I have seen plenty of these before because we've been around MMA at just about every level, where you see something and you think to yourself, man, that is an amazing knockout. Simultaneously, there's a part of you that's really afraid for that guy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
My heart does that. Unless it's my guy that does it to someone else, it's right away that I empathize. You know, it immediately goes to that. But if it was my guy, it just takes a little bit longer, because when you start to see that guy is not getting up, that's what is there to worry about? Like, is he okay? And when he's okay, where everything's okay, you know. But yeah, he was out. He was out for too long for my taste, you know, and it was tough. But I haven't, like, when I see it pop up in my timeline, I think of the UFC. It got the thing that will increase the numbers of UFC fans. You know,
that's what I'm saying.
That was a big needle mover. That was a needle mover, and I don't watch it. You know, I don't even watch the Pereira knockout. You know, I saw it, you know, but I don't watch it over and over again. But it is everywhere. I mean, everywhere.
Speaking of which, I don't want to brag or anything, but you know, I'm just saying, bro. You know, hey, look, it's funny because I've had people say, we don't want you to do commentary because we feel like you don't know combat sports. Well, I watch a little bit more than I like to lead on. I just want everybody else to be the smart guy in the room, because my job is to go, what a knockout. You know what I mean? So, look, your assessment of the Pereira fight, because, look, here's what I said. And I know people think it was silly for me to say it, but I just said Pereira wins fights that he's not supposed to win, and he loses fights that he should probably win, okay? And my comparison was to Muhammad Ali. That was Muhammad Ali's career to a T. I'm not saying Pereira is Ali. I'm just saying in contrast to comparison, that's the way that it was. Ali lost to some guys that he should have easily beat, but he should have never beat Sonny Liston once, let alone twice. Should have never beat Frazier once, let alone twice. Should have never knocked out Foreman. That damn sure shouldn't have happened. Okay, so when I just really thought it was the same thing with Pereira, and I know a lot of people thought Hill was going to win that fight, but I looked at it and I went, this is favorable, because when everybody says Pereira's going to lose, it's like he just ducks the media. He doesn't do anything else than just train. That's it.
Right.
And I think that's what he did. I think he just trained.
Absolutely. So did Jamal Hill did the same thing, but he's coming off an injury. And, you know, even though Jamal Hill looked like 100% of the time,
I was going to say, I think he was fine.
He was going to bring it. You know, he was going to take it to Pereira, you know, and I think in the back of his mind, just like we all thought, that Pereira guy, there's something about him, you know. Then there's this special thing in his left hook, you know, and then we just saw exactly what, you know, that's exactly how he was going to win. And I didn't see that he was going to hit him with the old man trick and step on his foot. I do that to the youngsters all the time, you know. You know, you try to show people how to get close enough to throw a shot that you can win with, like, or affect him enough to where the next shot will put him away. And that is distance and range. And so in that open stance, you know, if you can get to that foot, you know, we're trying to kind of step outside of that foot, But as soon as he stepped on that foot, he knew he was close enough to throw his bread and butter very short and right on the button. You know, if I was a fighter coming up, I try to, encourage my guys to do this, but you need to be able to throw a compact hook like that and feel like, holy shit, that's going to knock people out. Because I promise you, you get on the bag and I put you in a phone booth where you can't swing your hook out wide. You can't turn your body and load it real big, and you go ahead and hit that target. How'd that feel? You feel like you could hurt somebody with that? Like, man, I couldn't hurt my daughter like that. Like, yeah, exactly. But this Pereira guy, that little 20% of a 100% winding hook, that little 20%, it's incredible what the power he generates with that. And he must have hands of stone, perfect alignment. His wrist is fused to his fist or something, just incredible,
Well, to put it in perspective, since his loss to Izzy, he has since beaten Blachowicz, Procheka, and now Hill. So we're not talking about scrubs here. He's won 3 really, really tough fights in a row. All right. And then on top of that, he's also done boxing, kickboxing. I mean, Pereira he's just a fighter. That's all there is to it. I think that's what I really love about him. But I think the bigger thing here is, do you think that's a move that should be banned? There's been a lot of talk about it. It's legal whether anybody likes it or not.
What move?
Step on the foot and.
Excuse me. Be careful. I'm sorry. What move are you talking about? The stepping on the foot?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm asking you. I'm not saying I think it should be, but you're the guy who trains, and you just said that you do it to the young cats. So look, I'm just some dude with a beer gut kicking it. All right.
No. If you can do that, you should do that. And most guys are going to say, you can't do that to me. Like, you're not going to step out. So every time it happens, I may sneak it in on a very relaxed sparring session with one of the monsters in the gym, right?
Wake his ass
and
up.
As soon as I do it, we laugh. And it never happens again. Because if you are backing up, 2 ways this can go. Backing up, you make sure that foot is not able to be stepped on. That's how you keep the range, right? Or you let the guy step on your foot, and then that's the trigger for you to realize, hey, we're both close enough to win. And you better have a way to win when you get that close. But with the bare feet, it's not as effective as when we have boxing shoes or wrestling shoes on. I step on your shoe with my shoe, you're pretty stuck there. I step on your foot right there, it's like pulling a sweaty arm out of an overhook. It's easier to do than when we're dry. So no, never ban that.
If anybody came in at the wrong part of that conversation, man, just
yeah, same. You got it.
My man.
Got layers.
Yeah. There's a warning that goes up before this broadcast, so everybody knows what they're getting themselves into by listening to me. Look, do you like Pereira better as a boxer or an MMA guy?
That's an interesting question. I want to see someone wrestle Pereira. What are we waiting on? It's very it's giving a false sense of the highest level, right? What's the most dangerous guy in the world? It's not Pereira. It can't be, because there's somebody out there that can get close and take him down, and then he's gonna be down there. He goes to heavyweight. He better not get into a clinch or against some, national champion wrestler. They're on the ground. You will drown, and you can't just win fights kickboxing. We look at Gaethje and Holloway. Is that an accurate depiction of mixed martial arts? It's really not, because they just agreed. We're just going to kickbox. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to clinch. We're not going to grapple. We're not going to try to take each other down at all. We're just going to kickbox, mainly box. And that's exciting, but you have to have a dance partner to do that. And, we look at, let's say, Dvalishvili. A huge Dvalishvili versus Pereira takes Pereira down. That's how you win that fight. So that's what you do. You use your hands to get close, and you fit in under Pereira trying to knock you out. So it's very interesting. I'd like to see any kickboxing with Pereira. I'm watching. Anybody that, like a Jamal Hill, like he was going to have to switch his game up and wrestle, but he kept saying he's going to knock him out. So I believed him. So now we're here. We have an agreement, and really it's an agree to disagree, because every fight should be in a disagreement. But when you go into that agreement that we're going to kickbox with the best kickboxer on the planet, maybe second best, I don't know, we are putting ourselves in danger. Great for the fans. We know the outcome will be probably a knockdown or knockout, or it's going to be bloody. Yeah, we love that. But that's not, I know my grappling coach, my head coach, he wants to see the full package. And I want my guys to be a full package. You can never assume that the agreement has been made. Like, let's say we go out, we're going to kickbox, and then surprise, I take you down. You're not very good on the ground. I win. Gaethje could have done that. Gaethje's wrestling is incredible. Never even really changed levels. So, very interesting.
Do you think Pereira fights Izzy for a third time? Maybe Strickland for a second time? What do you think happens next?
I think Adesanya should not fight Pereira again, ever again.
Really?
That chapter's closed unless Pereira's the champion, and it's the only fight that Adesanya has because he wants to be a champion again. If Adesanya's the champion, I think they'll find other options, and so it would have to be like this mandatory thing for Pereira to work his way back to that fight. Right now, Pereira can look at 3 weight classes. Holloway, he can look at certainly 2 weight classes and just get a championship fight if he waits. He waits for the 55. But I don't know. And Strickland, Pereira, I think Strickland wants that fight again, but Pereira, that was easy work for him. A guy that's just going to stand right there and try to lean out of the way of punches. You can't do that with Pereira, period. So I like Pereira at heavyweight against John Jones.
Really?
I love that fight because I think it's the biggest heavyweight fight of all time.
What?
I also think it would be as far as numbers. What the fans want to see, what the UFC wants to sell. I really do. But you know how that fight goes. And I just said what I wanted to see, and that's the man to do it.
So you think John Jones would, because everybody thought Izzy was going to do it, right? So
Izzy was going to wrestle?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jamal Hill should have wrestled. Izzy should have wrestled. Izzy played some Muhammad Ali stuff that night. I don't think Adesanya was ever supposed to win those fights, which he only won one.
Right.
Well, he did well, but he did well up until the point where he didn't. And in the decision, he didn't do enough. Right. So I think he did some Ali shouldn't have won stuff that night. But we did see Pereira get put to sleep, right? So even the good guy on the mountain is human up there, you know. So, but I like to see John Jones just go in and solidify his legacy. This is just as a fighter, right? This is like, can you talk about OJ from just the perspective of him being an athlete? That's tough. Or R. Kelly, just his music. That's how I feel about John Jones and just the fighting. So just the fighting, he takes Pereira down and treats him like a baby and finishes him. John Jones can retire as the greatest mixed martial artist of all time that almost lost it, arguably did lose a couple fights. So this game, I love it. It's razor thin.
Why does Pereira keep getting such big fights? I mean, really think about it. Over the course of his career, he has fought Sean Strickland. He's fought Bruno Silva. He's fought Izzy twice in MMA and then again in boxing, right? He's fought Blachowicz. He's Jamal Hill. Now people are talking, you know, like you and himself included, about potentially moving up a weight class. But he you know, he's a 10-2 fighter. Like I said, I think his first loss was his first fight in the UFC against that Otani kid who's what, like 12-3, and he's nothing special. So how does he keep making these things happen?
Well, if you look at his entire career, he wasn't very good at the beginning of his career. And I think he might have been, you know, 60-40 fighter when he started. He was getting knocked out. He was getting outclassed. He looked small. He looked slow. And we know that Pereira was he was a kind of a bloated alcoholic. You know how you feel after you drink, you know, for a while. He refers to himself as an alcoholic, you know, and he pulled himself out of that. He improved every fight. He's improved every year, every decade, and how he wins is what fans, regular fans, casual fans want to see. They want to see the knockout. Yeah. And he can produce that. He also can finish fights with the calf kick. So the two hottest things for casuals are knockouts and making people limp around and then trying to knock out a wounded deer, you know? So, you know, that's what's exciting. And he's earned it. He's earned it. Like you said earlier, he hasn't fought. His last fights have been against world champions. He's a two division world champion. You know, he won his last title defense by knockout. You know, he made himself undeniable, and that's the goal. They were talking about he might be the most popular fighter on the planet right now, and popularity matters. You look at Bilal Muhammad, man, he is so good, and he has been. He has all the tools. He has he can win anywhere, but people don't even know who Bilal Muhammad is. And you know his nickname, right? You know, remember the name. He knew from the beginning he'd had to beg people to remember his name. Like, my nickname's going to be, hey, man, don't forget me. You know? and sure enough, he's not forgettable to me. He's unforgettable to me. But
oh, you're so sweet, Austin. Unforgettable.
Well,
look, man,
Pereira is popular.
I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. Apparently, somebody decided that it was a good time to mow their lawn. So
in the dark,
yeah, in the dark, 5 a.m., and that was promptly followed by a leaf blower at 5:30. And that was followed by a weed eater at about 5:45, and then that was followed by the leaf blower again at about 6 a.m. when it finally stopped. And by then I was like, well, it's really kind of too late to try and go back to sleep now, so might as well tough it out and stay up. And so if I'm a little goofy right now, that's a big part of what's going on, my man. You know, I just,
you're good. all the way good.
Oh no, I find that guy. He's not going to be good. I'll tell you that right now. He's going to think to himself, I really shouldn't be up drinking all night and then do that again. I really should probably not do a line and then decide it's cool to go ahead and go mow the lawn. So yeah, we're going to have a nice little chat, me and him. Real quick here before we get out of here. Prediction, I know it's kind of early for both fights. Tyson, McGregor, who do you like in both of these? Because, June's going to be a huge fight month for fans, man. I mean, this is going to be big. You literally got McGregor in a main event, and you've literally got Mike Tyson in a main event, okay? So, number one, which one is bigger, and which one, and who do you like in both fights?
Tyson's bigger. Boxing's bigger. Jake Paul's bigger. Tyson, Jake Paul, that's bigger. More people will watch that. More people. The pay-per-view will be bigger, for sure. And the gate will be bigger. The venue will be bigger. So yeah, prediction in that fight. I'm going to use my one cuss word for the day, and it's just going to be fuckery. That's what I'm here for. That's what I've got my eyes on.
Boy, the FCC is going to violate the hell out of me today.
The shenanigans that will go on will be quite interesting, and yeah, I'm not. Mike Tyson knocks Jake Paul out. That's just not going to happen. So that's off the table. So not as exciting for me, unless we're a comedic value. And then Chandler McGregor, I got to go with science and my experiences, and I'm going Chandler. Chandler pretty easily. Considering who he's fighting. Yeah, I think he wins decisively. I think it could be a decision as well.
Well, I like McGregor and I like Tyson. So
really,
yeah,
you like McGregor.
Yeah, I do. Look, I look for all his BS and for everything that I've said about him dicking around and just being kind of goofy and not really taking this seriously. I think as it begins, like now that it's been announced, I think here in like a week or two, McGregor wakes up and realizes he's got a fight to get ready for. And I think he realizes that Chandler is not playing around with him. And I think he drops the whole bodybuilding act somewhere along the way and gets back to himself. And when he does that, then I think we're going to see what we used to know about Conor McGregor, the way that we saw him before, the real him.
I like that. If he shows up, I agree with you.
Yeah, no,
he'll win.
Yeah,
and spectacular.
Oh yeah. Truth be told, I respect the hell out of John Jones and Chuck Liddell and all these guys in MMA that have done what they have done. But I'm going to tell you something, man. When McGregor is lasered in focus, there aren't many that are really better than him. If he shows up like that, it's over for Chandler inside of 3 rounds, period. As far as Tyson goes, look, Tyson was really, I think he baited him into this fight. I really do. I think he was. I think he was willing to play his. Look, you got to remember, Tyson is from the hood in New York.
Right.
He knows how to read people, man, and he knows how to tell you what you want to hear and play the game and all that stuff. People can talk about his 40 time all they want to. I'm looking at the footwork. I'm looking. He still has that Tyson hop. You know what I'm talking about? How he's able to go side to side in air. Yeah. Okay, and he still has it. And George Foreman, let's not forget what he did. Okay, so I think Mike Tyson is in that same place because Mike Tyson went from sign the contract, Jake, like messing with him and having fun and playing this game, to day 3. You still want to with me, and you see the look in his just total switch. Well,
Tyson in an interview he said and in tears, he's like, I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not that person anymore. But because he doesn't want to go there.
Yeah, it made him feel like a bitch for not being a bad dude, but also he's scared to be a bad dude. Anybody who's afraid of themselves, bro, the way that, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
If it goes back there, it's going to be, if that guy shows up.
Oh, yeah, it's over.
Jake Paul is in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, we're 3 days later, there's a funeral for this man. Okay? I'm telling you, if Mike shows up at all like that, look, and this is what I said when this fight was initially signed. And it's funny because a couple of other boxers have said this, including Roy Jones. I thought, okay, again, I'm solidified here. And that is, if Paul figures out a way to basically stay away from him for about 3 or 4 rounds, he'll survive. Because after that, Tyson's going to be gassed. He doesn't have it in him to go past that and still have all of his power. But inside of that, inside of those first 3 or 4 rounds, Paul had better be minding his because if he gets caught once, he doesn't have a jaw like that, bro. I guarantee you, his chin is made out of glass for Mike Tyson.
Or a brain like that that's not going to go, fuck it. Excuse me, I'm going out on my shield. I don't see that happening. No. He'll get shook.
Yeah.
He'll be the most nervous he's been for this fight. If Mike, if Jake catches wind that this is your toughest test, and if he believes that for a second, he's in trouble. But if Jake is like, man, I'm about to go out here and I'm going to play with Mike Tyson.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you. Well, and
that's his best.
Have you seen the Instagram stuff he's been doing where he's been, just the tattoo and the ear and all this other, and I'm just like, bro, you really don't understand what's going on here, do you? You don't get who you are. This is not a man.
What could happen? What could happen?
I realize that
if it will happen. But
look, I'm telling you, I'm legitimately scared for him. I really am, man. Look, I know that maybe I'm falling into the trap here. Okay, maybe something inside of me is being sucked in. I don't know what it is, but what I do know is this: I did not take this thing seriously until I saw the day 3. Do you still want to with me? When I saw that video, that was when I was like, Brody's turned the switch on. Tyson,
it didn't jump out at me. It just didn't. It's just like watching him hit mitts. Like if you watch him hit mitts with Rafael Cordero for the last 2 years, he's looked pretty sharp on the mitts, and he's taken his shirt off, and he's like, man, Mike looks good. I want to see the week before video, and I want to see a big difference between that first one. You want to F with me, Jake? Now I want to see a big difference. I want my eyes, my coach's eyes, to see that's a different level. That's a seasoned, that's a peaking Mike Tyson. Now I will be able, but if it's the same guy, I promise we all might get very disappointed. I don't want that. I don't want that. I promise you, Jake Paul he's young. He gets better every month. And I don't think I think he's probably has technically peaked. Like, I don't see his current coach. He's not evolving him technically. But so the evolution for Paul now is more pop, more power, more twitch, and then more timing and recognition of opportunities because of his experience sparring. So he is improving. He does have a chance. He does.
Yeah, past round 4. Absolutely.
Well, I think right away.
Really?
Right away. Mike,
okay.
Man,
do you think he could?
Mike is going to.
You're telling me that you think he can knock out Mike Tyson?
I really do. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, but here's the thing, though. Is that because of Tyson's age, though?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Prime Mike Tyson
I can accept that.
eliminates
I can accept
Paul
that.
right away.
Yeah.
In fact, Jake Paul doesn't take this fight.
No. Hell no. No. Prime Mike Tyson ain't in there with Jake Paul. That dude's going to resurrect Muhammad Ali next, man. You know what I'm saying? Nah. Hey.
No.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Gloves, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no.
It better be the right 16-ounce gloves, though. If they have the right 16-ounce gloves on, I will be more interested in the Tyson or the KO outcome. But if they're sparring gloves, that favors Jake Paul, like you said, of going into the later rounds where we have a fatigued Mike Tyson.
Right.
Now, Jake Paul, if he bounces around and makes Tyson miss, which I don't see that happening. I see Tyson making him work. You know, he's gonna put him on the treadmill on level 10. You know, and he's gonna have to run at a pretty good clip. But if he lets him bounce around the outside and Tyson conserves his energy and explodes here and there with the 16-ounce gloves, that favors a decision. Mike Tyson is not he doesn't score, you know, so I don't think he'll get behind his jab. I don't think he'll throw a double jab that isn't for purely to cross the distance and then land a big shot. I think Jake Paul, he will use his jab to keep Tyson off. And you know, I hope there's just 3 judges that, barring Tyson getting knocked out, there's no way Jake wins a decision no matter what we see. You know, let's pay those 3 guys and save my favorite boxer of all time. I don't want to see him go out on a loss like this. I don't care how much he's getting paid.
No,
I don't want to see him get punched in the face. I bet Robin Gibbons wants to see him get punched in the face.
Yeah, you know what? That we don't say that name. All right, everybody. I am Drew Duncan. The show's fired up, and we are live. WBFR Block 50 Radio. My man Austin Ford hanging out with us as always. Our MMA/combat sports insider. Austin, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join the program, my man.
Hey, it's a pleasure as always, and can't wait till the next time.
Absolutely. Talk to you in a week. All right, everybody. Your local programming is next. Stay safe this weekend, and as always, don't you dare touch that